This is gonna sound crazy, but I cured my depression with manifestation. I know. Isn't manifestation just making a wish to the universe and buying some overpriced crystals? I used to think so too, but really, it's not. It's just science and psychology. But before we get into all of that, I do have to give a disclaimer. In this video, I am only going to be talking about my personal experiences and sharing some other anecdotal experiences at the end of the video. But this is not intended to be medical advice, and I am not a doctor. I can only speak for what I've seen and witnessed myself. Okay, so let's set the scene here because I really need you to understand just how depressed I was. And here's your trigger warning because I'm going to be very honest about some pretty traumatic things. Now, I won't go into too much detail because that's not what this video is about, but I just need you to understand that this was not your normal, everyday kind of life just sucks type of depression. This shit was clinical. So I was diagnosed with severe depression at the age of 13, although I definitely had undiagnosed depression for most of my childhood. It developed due to a dangerous home environment as well as genetic factors. And for the next 17 years, I bounced around from therapist to therapist, and I tried every antidepressant and anti-anxiety pill that my doctors recommended. But despite being very consistent with medical intervention, I continued to feel worse and worse. And my life got worse as well. I managed to escape my childhood home only to find myself in a toxic relationship where I was cheated on, groomed, and emotionally abused. From there, I got out and was robbed and was forced to take a dangerous job that was pretty bad for my mental health. I dated a string of toxic partners and I was sexually assaulted. I developed PTSD, EDs, I had OCD, ADHD, and my depression and anxiety had never been worse. Still, I kept going to therapy and taking my medication, but it was barely keeping me alive. I was checked into several mental facilities for wanting to unalive myself. I didn't stop fighting to stay alive, but I was exhausted. And I had struggles with money. I had never experienced a healthy relationship. I lost all my friends. I was completely alone. I developed addictions. And I was sexually assaulted again. At this point, the doctors told me that my depression was incurable, that it was both genetic and situational, and it was just too severe. And the best that I could hope for was to manage my symptoms enough to keep me alive. As you can see, life was really rough, but I still kept fighting, and I got really interested in psychology and manifestation. I spent hours each day researching ways to feel better besides just therapy and medication. I was desperate to learn how to control my negative thoughts before they took my life. For the next few years, I watched every manifestation video I could find. I got off to a pretty rough start and I got into things like crystals and tarot and manifesting on 11/11 during the full moon. Now I know all that stuff is fake, but back then I was so desperate for any answers that I could get. I read every self-help book I could find. Although I admit it was kind of hard to focus on reading because I was still really depressed when I started my journey. But it got easier over the years, and I started to actually remember what I read and apply it. I even went to school for psychology. I was so desperate to learn how to feel better, and since therapy wasn't helping as much as I hoped, I figured I would just learn how to become a therapist myself. Surely there was some secret information that they had learned in college that they just hadn't told me yet. And I did learn a lot of things in those first few years of searching for answers. And at least it got me to a place where I had hope again. I was definitely still depressed, but I didn't want to stop living because I could tell something was finally working. And what was working the best was manifestation. By this time, I had gotten past the fake manifestation stuff that most of us fall for at first, and I started really learning what manifestation was. Manifestation was never about magic or mysterious vibrations. It was simply my insides becoming my outsides. The world was just a reflection of me. Because of the beliefs that I held, I perceived the world in some really unhealthy ways. This, of course, led to tons of negative thinking. And for the longest time, I thought that my thoughts thought themselves. That I had no control over what went on in my own head, and that depression was stronger than I was. I was so wrong. I didn't know that at the time though, so I felt hopeless and sad literally every day. And I was honestly such a depressing person to talk to. I was really pessimistic and just a bummer. I was a buzzkill in every way because my words were a reflection of my beliefs. I thought I was just describing my reality honestly, just telling it like it is. But I was really just talking about my limiting beliefs, and the world reflected that back to me. As you can imagine, all of these unhealthy beliefs, thoughts, feelings, and words led me to some pretty unhealthy actions and unhealthy inactions. For the longest time, I used substances and aggression and isolation to cope. And food. I gained 80 pounds twice. It was really bad, guys. But learning about manifestation was helping me wake up. And instead of seeing all my horrible life circumstances as pure bad luck or even something that I deserved to go through, I was starting to realize that my circumstances were just manifestations of what I believed, and that I had so much more control than I ever took credit for. Not to say that I deserved anything bad or that I brought it on myself. Absolutely not. We can't do better until we know better. And no one deserves anything bad either way. But what I am saying is that I had a lot more power than I realized, and I was starting to see it. Instead of fighting against my circumstances to make life change for the better, I only focused on changing myself, on creating healthier beliefs, on feeling better without faking it, on speaking with more optimism, and choosing healthier actions. And it all started by changing my thoughts. Not in a toxic positivity way, although I'm sure that's how it started off. But I soon learned that you can't fake it till you make it when it comes to what you think and feel. Thoughts and feelings can't be tricked like that. You have to actually change them by rewiring your brain, or reprogramming, if you will. And that's how this negative thought plan was born. After a decade of research, spending thousands of dollars on psychology classes, spending tens of thousands of dollars on therapy, and dedicating myself to finding a solution, I was finally able to curate a list of 45 science-backed methods to put my overpowering negative thoughts to rest once and for all. And it didn't happen overnight, but it did happen for real. And I didn't have to fake a single thing. Today, I can proudly say that it worked. I haven't had medical depression in 4 years. I am no longer in therapy, and I haven't taken medication in a very long time. I am happy. Genuinely happy. I wake up almost every day feeling content with life. I want to live. I'm excited for both my present and my future, and I look back on my past with compassion and no regrets. That's not to say that I never have negative thoughts. Even the happiest people still do. But they're never overpowering anymore. And I always feel in control of my own mind effortlessly, without having to force or fake anything. When I have negative thoughts now, they don't spiral. They don't take over me, and they don't last very long, because I use the negative thought plan that I developed. It's actually kind of crazy that it took me this long to learn this stuff. I mean, I was paying so much money and spending decades in therapy. Someone should have told me these things sooner. And yes, some of the things on the list did come from therapists. But it's honestly kind of weird that they don't just teach you all this stuff right up front. But I digress. And either way, I'm just thankful that I know all these strategies now, because some people never learn them. I learned how to permanently rewire my brain using these natural techniques. And even my doctor is amazed at how I was able to literally cure my incurable depression. She actually called it a miracle. But it's not a miracle. A miracle implies that something really good just happened to you. And don't you dare try to discredit me like that. I spent the better part of a decade figuring out most of this by myself. It's not a miracle. Just like the bad things that happened to me weren't random bad luck. It's all just manifestation and a direct reflection of me. When I figured all this out, I knew I had to share what I learned. I started telling my friends, and a lot of my friends were really sad. Some of them didn't want to be alive anymore. And after sharing this with them, I can't tell you how many times people have told me that this information saved their lives. And that's when I knew I found my calling. And it wasn't to be a therapist and work in some clinic and only kind of help people. This is just my experience with therapy, by the way. I did have some really great therapists, but they were never allowed to really tell me what to do. They were more so just there to listen and empathize. And I didn't need empathy. I needed solutions. I didn't need to just keep talking about my problems. I needed to actually get to the root of them and fix them. Healing my negative thoughts naturally without medication was what allowed me to do that. So I put everything that I learned together in one program, and the negative thought plan was born. I created this program to help others experience the same miraculous healing, the kind that my doctor said was impossible. I believe that the world will be a much better place when more people learn these strategies. And so I'm very honored to offer a program that actually works at an affordable price. My goal is to help the world heal, and also to save you decades of the trouble that I went through just to find these answers. This stuff really works. And it's why today I'm happily married in just the best relationship I could ever imagine. I have my dream job of helping others. I'm surrounded by people who love me. My body is healthy and strong. I'm sober, happily sober, and I'm expecting my first child. I truly, really, really love myself and my life. And I really know what I'm worth now. Sorry. And I feel really content and excited and happy almost every single day. So if my story resonates with you, and if you would like to experience this negative thought plan for yourself, you can visit my website at manifest-best.com and click on the course tab and the Reprogram Your Negative Thoughts course. Now, legally speaking, I cannot guarantee that these strategies will work for you too. And again, none of this is medical advice. That said, I've already shared this information with over 1,000 clients already. And never once, not once, has anyone ever not felt better after trying it. In fact, here are some real client reviews after using my negative thought plan. Again, I'm not making any claims about the efficacy of this program for legal reasons only, but my clients can speak for themselves. So pause the video and read these reviews if you would like to see what they have to say for yourself. As you can see, this program has absolutely changed so many people's lives already. And if you'd like to check it out, again, go to manifest-best.com. You'll notice that this program is priced way below its value because I truly believe that this information saves lives. Because people have literally told me that it saved theirs. And if there's even a chance that this program can help more people do that, I believe it's my duty to share it as much as I can while still fairly providing for myself and my family. And I know this program is way underpriced, but don't let that throw you off. Yes, it costs way less than just one session of therapy, but I'm confident that it will help you significantly more. I just want this program to be accessible to anyone. Anyways, that's enough about the program. And listen, even if you decide not to check it out for yourself, I really hope this video was helpful for you and that you find ways to heal your negative thoughts too. And that it doesn't take you 30 years like it took me. Because you deserve to think and feel better. And you are so capable of that. And you have a lot more control over your thoughts than you think. I'm sending you all so much love. I hope you can feel it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you like this video and you want to see more. My name is Coach Katie with Manifest Best, and happy manifesting, you guys.